All right, back at this again. I know everybody loves it so, but it needs to be done because the weather's nice. It's actually kind of pleasant to be out here. There's no wind and it's not really that freezing cold, so we're gonna continue on our way right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and it got so dark last night that we really need to probably break some more dirt in those holes that settled down after it's been raining and whatnot. But we need to do this gate. We did that one, and then it just got so dark that I thought, no, we will do it in the daylight so we can actually, you know, see what we're doing without struggling and flashlights, and then you can be along too and see the failure. So our goal here is to get it relatively close to what we got going on here, but also make it in such a way that it will fold back upon itself. And so that's where we are. So, you know, it's probably going to land somewhere in that neighborhood. Of course, the pins are going to be on the back side on this one because we want it to fold that way. So that's how that goes. But what we're going to need should be still in here, because I think I just threw it in the back seat. Whenever I have something I don't know what to do with, I just throw it in the back seat of the pickup or in the bed of the pickup, and before long, that's how this happens. So I just cannot help it. That just is something that always has, I don't know, plagued me. Like, I can have this truck totally empty, and then the next day it can be totally full of stuff again, because you know what I'm saying, start to put stuff that's in my pocket or whatever and just want rid of it, and then before you know it, truck's full. But we're not worried about that right now. I actually think, let's see here, if we can we acquire a thinking stool? That might actually make this one easier, because it's a bigger gate, and I just think it'd be easier. All right. Basically, all we have to do is figure out where the first one's gonna go. I think it needs to go just above that third rung of the panel. So if I can get that out of there, we'll put it in somewhere like here, and then that should do what we want. And then the top one will have to be very careful that we get it in line or whatever, otherwise the gate won't open right. It'll change geometry as it comes around. So just pick a place right in the middle. I hope I didn't go all the way through. I hate it when that happens. I did. Well, shoot. That's okay though, because I have a feeling that somewhere along the line of Life's Way, I'm gonna have to switch this one to the bolt through style, because I don't know that this is gonna do what I want. Actually, this one was bent, wasn't it? That one is straight. This is one of the things that I wanted to get the other night when I was at the store, and I forgot all about it. However, I think that when I looked in my bag of tricks here, that I had one new one of these, so we'll swap out the bit one for that. Well, that looks more better. That pin is super long. I don't know. Like I said, I wish I hadn't went all the way through. I should have been paying attention. Although it may have ended up, It might have had to be anyway, because it might be poking through by the time we're done. But let's put that one in there. I hope. Come on. I honestly don't know where I got this one singular one that has the super long pin. I know one thing though, if you're fat, bending over is not easy. I thought the thinking stool would help, but I don't know. It's taking a while, but that's okay. What else do we have to do today? Only 1,000 other things. Let's stop with that. I hope that's enough. Yep, that thing's pretty well flush with the other side, so I guess it really did have to be that far. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna hang this as such. Then we're going to prop this up. Now, really, we need to be, that piece of firewood is not enough for what I want. I had that problem the other day. It's not gonna, it really needs to be a little more than that probably, but let's see how it works out. Yeah. Okay, well, it gives us the height, but we need to tip it. It still needs to be up, if not a little bit proud, because by the time everything is going to sink, it's going to go. I know what I'm saying, even if you don't get it. Let's find something from our wood pile here that might be able to do the task we want. At first blush, it looks like it's good, but actually, truth be told, that post is probably sagged a little bit, so that's what we need to be watching here. So I like that more better. That looks better, straighter, happier. Now the question is, we need to make sure we're let's say right there. I think that's probably about as good as she's gonna get. So what you're going to want to do every day is use the same battery and don't charge it at all. That way you'll get that nice, you know, shattering effect, and that's what you want. Now this is going to be in our way, so we can actually probably let the gate down. Now we'll probably lift it. Let's just lift it off of here. Be nice if it would stay on that higher piece that we just put on there, so I didn't have to run back and forth, but life doesn't always work that way. We'll just go roundy round. See, we can't, normally if you put the gate pins on the inside of the post, like on this flat side, then you can adjust these pins and get the pitch of your gate to change. So if it starts sagging, you could screw in the top one and make it go higher. But with doing it this way, you don't have that luxury. So you better make sure you do it right the first time. And then The advantage, though, that you gain doing it this way is that this gate will now fold flat against this, so you don't have it when it's open just standing out in the middle or blowing around, or you have to tie it back, or you know, that kind of a thing. I probably went too many. Let's it just depends on the different situation that you're in. For example, down there our gate was going to fold 90 degrees and live in its home position when it's open. So in that case, we could put the pins on the inside. So now the gate could fold down there either this way, or it could be this way, or it could even fold out 90 degrees the other way. With this way, it can only be either closed, or you could have it 90 degrees, I guess, or fold it against the fence, you know, but you can't open it out that way, which is no big deal, because who cares? With what I do with this gate, it basically only stays either closed or it's open. So one or the other. So we don't need to have it to be able to fold different ways. We just want it tied securely out of the way. Now, if you're a dummy like me, you probably did it wrong and you got some troubles in River City, but I think we need to go. All right. This is probably a two-hand job because I gotta drive that up. I gotta pull against it and drive it up. That's where your piece of wood comes in handy, but it needs to be just ever so slightly more to really do it, but whatever. We're gonna make it work anyway. Uh-oh. Or we're going to do the exact opposite. There. Okay, let's test this out. Of course, we got stuff in the way now. It meets up with the other one. That's also important. See, that gate can fold against there, so oh, wah, 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 wah. Wow. This is long enough, and that that post is soft. It's not solided up enough yet. So we need to watch when we get out of here. See, this is going to work dandy, but it is a little bit, look at how she sags. The geometry has changed, which means I didn't hit it quite right. But in what way? It looks straight up and down there, but gates are bizarre. I don't know. Another thing that's fighting it is I put the pin straight and this is going downhill slightly, so the gate's kind of following nature. So it'll work though. We just have to, we need to let that post get solid before we really do this. That's why we're going to leave it blocked up, you know. Now if it's out here, the weight of it is pulling out on that post, so it's not really a problem. But sure. See, that one does it too. When they get to be, when the gates are so long, they finally get kind of unmanageable in a lot of ways. But see, that one's kind of sagging now too. I don't know if that post is sagging or if it may actually need that top one turned in another round or two. That's okay though. We don't really care. That's not too unmanageable. I mean, I think I'll reblock this a little bit so that we can let them both sit up, and then especially this one, as it's in there longer, it will get more solid. The rain loosened it packed down the dirt that was in the hole, but now you can see how deficient we are in dirt. But whatever, it'll work. We got the gate hung, and that's the important moral of the story. And see how they're nice and even at the top. So that's gonna do what we do. I might even get one of those wheels. That doesn't let it, that won't really be as handy because it won't let them sit together, but I have done that already. If it becomes a problem, it's just a little wheel you mount on the end of the thing, and then whenever it hits the ground, it rolls on the wheel, so it doesn't let the gate bottom out. But that's gonna work fine. We'll just leave it alone so nature can, make our new fence all the way it's supposed to be. Plus, like I said, that gate's only gonna ever be closed like that, or it's gonna be all the way open, tied to the backside. So there is no in between that it's gonna be. See, that gate just worked out perfect, even though it's technically also going downhill, but so are the boards, so you can't see it. But this one is this is a beautiful example of a gate opening and closing. I mean, it just fits in there, and just gravity, look at that, gravity will open it. So that doesn't always happen, but like I said, it's going downhill in two directions, so, but that's going to be fine. So with those gates like that, we are oh so close to being back where we were, as far as having the fence the way that it's supposed to be. So now what we're going to do is run the electric wire across the top and get that all squared away, and then we'll move on and start continuing our other deal. And I've got some ideas for that too, so that we don't have to run to town right now, but we can still make progress. So yeah, give me a second. There we go. When I went to the store, I remember the cashier lady saying, well, she tied some stuff in this smaller bag, and that's where it's at. I couldn't find it, but we need all of this to do what we need to do. And I think I need to, I don't know, you'll understand at some point, maybe. I guess let's start down here, because we're gonna have to do some things differently. Of course, then I just immediately drop some stuff. And I'll explain why we're doing stuff differently. I messed up yesterday, though. I should have, and I might have to undo that somehow. I don't know yet how I can do that without destroying it, but I put the wrong kind of insulator on this post here. So right there, that needs to change to a screw style, which I have through here. Oh, donkeys are gonna trumpet now. Sure. This gate is gonna get this spring. I have several of these, and I like them. It works good. Awesome. It works great when you throw everything to the ground. let's talk first. So basically, if you haven't seen these, it's an expandable spring, so that when you got your electric, or you open your gate and you want your electric to go away, you unhook it and it retracts back, and then you don't have a whole long end of wire just dangling out in the breeze that things can get caught on. Most of the stuff that comes in the box is plastic, so I don't use any of it. I just use this piece right here. Works great, because when you're done, like I said, you have the gate open. That's all you have to deal with. You don't have the full length of this. You have like 1.5 feet or so of stuff dangling instead of a piece of wire. But it has its limitations. I have places where I bought 2 of those and thought this is going to work great. And I would hook like over a double gate, because it won't expand quite that much to do like 32 feet, I don't believe, unless they've changed them. But the problem more than that is, even if they would, they have a lot of sag to them when you get that much distance. See, this says 16 feet is what it's good for. So out to the field there, I have 2 of them, and we discovered they have so much droop in them that you can't even just hook them together in the middle. That's what I was doing, but then you have the problem of one of them's hot all the time when they're unhooked. But there was ways around that too. But anyway, what we eventually did, Grandpa came up with, was we tied a post to one of the gates, just like a metal post that we had an insulator bolted to, and then a thing made with loops on both sides, and we could hook it in there, and we could hook the other side into it, and that would fix the sagging problem. And then when you went to open the gate, that post would stay with one of the gates, and then you problem solved. You didn't have to deal with that. And so that's fine, but I'm not going to do that on this ordeal here, I don't think. I'm going to go with just pulling a piece of wire tight. But what I've got going here, I have my little insulators along the post here to take my hot wire along. But I found with this type of thing, pulling on it, that's not going to hold up. Even if I would pull on this one and hook it here, what's going to happen is it's going to pull over so much force that it's eventually going to, you know, break that insulator or work its way out, whatnot. They're not made for side load necessarily like that. So that's where the screw-in ones come into play, and they'll work dandy. But yesterday when I was doing that and getting all excited about having these posts in, I hammered one in there, and I shouldn't have, because I bought these screw-in ones. And this one's going to get a screw-in style, which then I can pull off of the spring, but also I can hook in and go that way, so it'll do the same thing with one piece, and then what have you. And then we'll be able to tie everything in. It might be overkill. You could probably do it with less, but I do it this way because that's the way I've done it, and it works, and that's all I care about. So anywho's, the only thing I had in the, well, not the only thing, but the handiest thing I had in the truck was the chainsaw wrench, so we'll just use it. All right, and again, our posts need to really settle. They're not really settled enough yet. But let me get I'm gonna try the fence pliers and see if I can somehow remotely pull that nail out of there without just destroying that insulator, because it's perfectly good. I could use it somewhere else. But I have a feeling that it's gonna get destroyed trying to pull it out. What are the chances that we'll get this out of there? Maybe if we turn it back and forth, gently pull. Nope, I don't think it's gonna work. Come on, come out of there. It's not a threaded nail, so it should pull out. Pulling out's difficult. Come on. There. Oh, yeah. Doesn't matter though, because that one's already not very well made, and that's not something I did. That looks to me like a however they make porcelain, a casting defect or something. Stuff is crap nowadays, you know. Let's just put this in our coat pocket and carry it around with us for the rest of the time. We'll use the same hole we were just in. Come on. Come on. Is that gonna work? Yeah, buddy. Alright. Now see the beauty of that, because like I said, some of you are gonna say, well, you should have just tied it to that and it'd have been fine. This is made like a key ring, so I can just literally put it right through that deal and then it'll be securely in there. No tying required. There, see how nice that is? And then on this end, what we're gonna have to do is we do have to make a little wire loop so that we have somewhere to hook this in. The kit comes with like a, it comes with like a metal plate thing, but then all the mounting stuff is plastic. And that's what I don't like. That's not gonna hold up over time. See, the tension of that spring will eventually destroy that. So I don't go that route. And then, you know, you could use this plate and I could figure out a way to get the plate in there, you know, maybe bolt it in. We could try that. I'm not opposed to that for something different. We'll see how it holds up experimentally. So, me not knowing anything of what I'm doing, let's make sure that, I think this is the end that goes in. I guess I just wanted to make sure both ends would fit. Okay, I got an idea. Let's oh no, did I just bust it? No. See, our quality of porcelain stuff now is nothing like the old time stuff. I know that's shocking, right? But we just don't have anything. See, that's not even gonna work like I thought. So I should have just left well enough alone and done it my normal way. I wonder if I could. It's not worth it. It's not worth the time we're devoting to this changing when I know the way that works. All right. So, like I said, I could have recycled some wire, but I wanted something a little bit heavier, so I bought this, and it was a shorter spool, and I know it'll get me done what I want done, I believe. So, that's what we're gonna do. But what I'm gonna do to it is, I'm gonna leave enough here that when I tie, I don't like a whole bunch of splices in wire, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna leave enough here that when I go around here like this, this is gonna actually turn and be, I caught you, and that's good because I don't want to have to break out another camera mount. But I want enough to be able to come around here, and then I'll go into here and make my loop. But I got to keep it far enough away from the post because the Cyclops will find that and arc out in between there if I don't. There we go. Now we're going to go this way, and I'm going to try to do this in one continuous piece all the way to the other side. I don't know if that will be possible, but we're going to see. What's going to happen here then is, like I said, other people are going to say, well, why didn't you do this or whatever, but I'll tie it. I'll make little things when we're done, and I'll tie it to these insulators so it doesn't jump off of the porcelain. I could go through and I could pull it tight right now and go wrap it around each insulator and whatever, but I think if you have something break, which those things do, it's going to be harder to service than if you do it the way that I'm going to do it. We're not reinventing the wheel here either. Work harder, not smarter, you know? If I use this chainsaw wrench as a little unwinder. That should make this go easier, right? Okay, we're part way there. We need to tighten that up and then see what we get. We need those fence pliers, which of course I left on the total opposite end because that's how life is. I was thinking there was something else I needed too. Oh, this other little screw-in jobby. We need that. See, the nice thing about this is too, a lot of times when I let the cows out, I don't even take that loose. They can walk right under through it and it doesn't bother them a bit. So they've gotten into that habit because I do that all the time. So anyway, that is another benefit, I guess, of this way I'm doing it. Another plan on my agenda, which I haven't got to yet, is getting another water tank and having one in here. And then if I haul water to them, I can just drive right out here and dump it in. I don't have a good enough well to just fill thousands of gallons of water to them every day, so I usually just haul it in, but that's fine. You went face down in the dirt just like Saturday night. So yeah, we're gonna put this in here. We could actually have tied off the other thing first, but that's okay. Come on. Come on. Oh, we're starting to go crooked. That's fine. We'll straighten it up at the end. It'll go. All right. Now this will be a two-hand job because I obviously can't leave you sit, although there I just did. Left you sit on wood. That's probably going to work real great, isn't it? Okay. Now we need to be very generous with what we leave so we don't screw up something. Oh, sure. Although I guess this one we weren't going to do the... There we go. That'll work. Now, I really need to get through here. So if only we had something that would open, you know, like a gate. Let's see if I use the gate. And I gotta prop it back up. Oh, friends, I was bragging on the weather, and now I feel the wind starting. And it doesn't seem like much, but that little bit of wind is making it kind of miserable. So stupid. Winter time. But here, we're going to use this feller. Now, there is a method to this also, which I did not say, but why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that is, you always want to have it where when you unhook it, the end that's laying on the ground is dead, you know, so you're hooking onto the power, not coming from the power and hooking onto the next section. If that wasn't clear, that should be. Even though I had wire here, I'm going to use the shiny new wire so that it's easier to see when I hit it with the lawnmower. Because I'm not saying that that happens, but that definitely probably happens. Now this is kind of different because that's hot. So if I would hook it to that, I need to make a loop. But if I do that now, I'm going to get this crap zapped out of me. That needs to be changed anyway, but I guess I can go. I'm trying to decide where I go to shut that off because it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3 here. It's not, I don't have it isolated very good up here, so I need to go probably to the barn and disconnect it, then we can finish this. But what we can do is cut us enough that, again, it would be real handy if you would just sit there, but nothing is flat. We need to leave enough room to be able to do this. I think we have enough. All right. Oh, and these things, they have a spring in the center too. So when you pull, it stretches and then keeps it tight. So that's how this works. But we are going to have to go, see, this is all rigged up in a different way. That's actually some kind of insulated copper wire that I don't know why we used, but I'm not going to change it today. I just need to shut it off long enough that I can make me a loop in there to be able to hook this into, and then I need to strip that back probably, so that, because I was doing it this way, just hook that around there, which totally works fine, except that's defeating the purpose of now having a handle. Because yeah, so let me go shut the electric off, and then I'll forget, and then the cows will get out, and then we'll have to chase cows and go through the whole deal. But I'll go do that real quick. Well, that worked. It wasn't very glorious to speak of, but that copper wire is very, I don't know why I'm surprised, but it's so thick that it was hard to manipulate it, but we got it. This is super tight now, so I'm gonna go turn the electric back on and make sure we don't have any popping or cracking anywhere. But we should, well, we're gonna disconnect this because we're not done working on that. But what I gotta do is hook up the electric so I don't forget about it, because I don't want them to get out because I forgot to hook it back up. But this should be good for what we want now. Someday we'll have time to straighten this fence here in the yard, but that's not gonna be today, so we'll worry about that another time. Right now I'm more concerned about having that back the way it needs to be. All right, phone rang, so I talked for a while to somebody, but I got all of this wiring done. It's hooked to that other fence. Our spring is here, our gate is here. I had to change this because when it pulled on here, it pulled this against the wood, which is what you gotta watch. I didn't leave enough room to make it a big enough loop. But it is all the way up here, and I should be able to hook this up to hot, and then everything's fine. I went down, before I went down and did that, I unhooked this and hooked the electric up back down there. So now there's power up here. So we should be able to make this happen, you know. I'm trying to update connections whenever possible. There's still some stuff that like Grandpa did, and he would never spend money on a gate handle. He would always just use his hat and do it, and I don't mind that sometimes, but on the connections where you're going through all the time, it's just a lot more handy to have a handle. They don't really last, but let's see here, Cyclops. Yep. All right, that's hot now, so that's good. It doesn't spark if it's working correctly. You just get a tiny little, you know, spark as you connect the two. But we should be in good shape here, friends, that we now are back energized the whole way. And I hope that that is what we want. You know, I think it is funnily enough, if that's a word. I bought that new spool of wire to do this instead of using old because it was heavier. And just now, when I was walking to the grain bin, I found a gigantic spool of this size wire that has been sitting there the whole time, and I didn't realize I had. So, sure, that's fine. But we're out of battery on the camera, so I think we're going to call this video here. I mean, we got beautiful progress made here. We got electric done. We got our gates all hung up. And I think for the finale, I'm going to rob the chain off of this gate. See, I keep robbing the next guy to pay the next guy. But I'm going to take this chain, and then in theory, we'll have a way to close this gate up, because gravity is wanting to take it, you know, close. But let's get the full effect here of a beautiful fence that might actually be able to contain some animals, you know. Now that's just the quick rendition of closing that. I might have to. Well, of course the GoPro died right about the time I was almost done, but I may have to change the way that's hooked. Sometimes you'll get a cow that can figure out how to unhook the gate. Believe it or not, I've watched them do it. They can get a hold of the chain and flip it in their mouth until they get it to fly out of there. And then a gate like this, where gravity just opens it, they got her made. They can get out easy. But anyway, we will worry about that later. But I think we're in good shape here. We got, like I said, everything should be hot again all the way. We should pick up our broken insulators at some time, but that's not gonna be right now. So this fence is officially back in service, this piece right here. Now we're going to focus our effort on going that way, and I think that will be our next one. I'm going to dig around and see what I have on hand, but I got to thinking, like for here on this one, I have to cut it anyway to fit in between this one. So I might just see if I have a really nice used one panel, and I'll put that in there. And then if we do that, we're golden, friends, because I figured out that I actually want to change what I had in mind. So 1, 2, 3 panels, and then the next wood section, which I have on the trailer. So I have exactly enough stuff to get us to the point of hanging the next set of gate. Well, hanging one of the next set of gates. I can do this side, but I didn't get enough posts to do the other side, because it's like I told that lumberyard guy, I said, I don't want to take too much stuff where if I don't get it done, it's just going to be sitting around on the trailer. So I felt like we would quit with this, because I knew this would pretty well take me all the rest of yesterday afternoon and today to get done. And then if we get that far, then we can move along our happy way and go. I decided I didn't want the gates to come out exactly against that bale corral thing. I wanted them over a little bit so they were more centered in that, which I don't know that that matters, but I just got to looking at that and I thought, hey, that'll let me keep going without having to drop and get more supplies, but also I think it'll work better for us. That's kind of it'll put the gates in the natural path that I always was driving through there anyway, for whatever reason. I had all this space, but I always took the same track through there for whatever reason. So that's what we're gonna do, but hopefully we did a good thing here. I mean, it certainly can't be worse. It cost a lot of money, so spend more, it's always better, right? Anywho's, I guess we'll call this one here. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. After watching what you just saw, do you feel like your IQ has dropped lower than your credit score? Well, there's no reason that both of us should be miserable, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff costs you nothing, and it really helps me out. Your banker may not approve, but I know mine will. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.